Welcome to another episode of the Forge Forward podcast, the Industry Innovation Industry podcast. My name is Phil Cruz. I am your host, and alongside me, I've got the Courtney Smith, the mastermind of Connection Quality and Firefly Initiative. Say hi to your fans out there, mate.
Hey fans. I've got so many of them, Phil. It's not funny.
It's tough to keep them in line, but but another person that's got a nice fan base is Gary Silversides from the IPA Collective. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Phil. Morning, Courtney. Hope everybody's well.
Morning, Gary. Lovely have you on the podcast.
Great to be on it. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, we're glad to have you, and I would like to start by saying, Forge, the event that's coming out, it's not just an event. It's a movement of lifting the longboats by uniting top partners like yourself and customers to showcase in the future aligned expertise across the 4 S's, the 4 key domains that we call the safety, the scalability, the sustainability, and the sellability. Let's just get right into it, mate, with a nice company overview and some innovation. So, Courtney, start us off.
Well, you're spot on there, mate. Every new tech revolution feels daunting, and I think we're in one of the fastest growing tech revolutions that we've seen. So, whilst technology is critical for business, and we understand that, the truth is we as humans need to understand how we operate in that sphere, and that's what Forge is going to be about, Phil. So we'll kick straight off and ask Gary, what do you see is the innovation content that you might feel that you're working with on a daily basis or seeing out there in industry?
Look, it's we deal with heavy industry, manufacturing, FMCG, lots of water organisations, electricity generators, ports, so a very wide spectrum of organisations. I guess what we're seeing is a nervousness around innovation.
Oh.
A lack of understanding, and in particular, how to actually apply innovation within industry in general. And that goes across all sectors that we deal in right now.
Right. Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I had a chat yesterday with someone, and I'm a bit of a futurist. I'm not a 50-year futurist, but I'm looking over the horizon 5 years, and I lean into it pretty heavily. There's this conversation that we're having, which is, where do you fit in the future curve? And, the interesting bit is that the future curve is different for everybody. So where I fit in the future curve could be very different to you, Gary, and could be very different to Phil, and particularly the industries in which we operate. So my future is out here somewhere, but it actually could be my present. What I'm doing today in AI and playing around with and testing in our business could be actually the future of where someone else sees the future. So it's a really interesting paradigm to think through. And that sort of links us to that concept of, why did you join Forge, and why did you think Forge could bring value to your network and certainly the wider industrial services sectors?
Look, I guess it's in our industry, we're regarded as an organisation that's also at the front of innovation and providing other organisations, our members and our partners, with what's happening with future innovation. So if we're not there, if we're not looking at it and interested in it and participating in it, it's really hard for us to turn around to our customers and turn around and say, you can come to us, we can help you with the things that you're struggling with. So for us, yeah, it was a no-brainer when Phil approached me, sort of said, yeah, we're on board. Yeah, we want to be there and understand what other organisations are doing.
Look, it's awesome, and it's funny. We've got a speaker I'm trying to talk to at the moment, which we met at one of the events, who's talking about heavy vehicle truck EVs. Not lightly, seriously. They're going to invest millions and millions of dollars into putting infrastructure in to allow that to take place. He was talking about the variables of value, and I was quite taken aback, because I've looked at this segment a lot, and he was saying that they believe within the next 5 years they'll be in the 10 to 15 cents per kilometre to run an EV truck. Now, as we know out in the marketplace, that's a lot cheaper. And speaking to a customer, they're talking 90 cents for a single config on road haulage, and for a B double or light, $1.40, right? So we're talking nearly an order of magnitude difference, plus the value it brings to the planet and all the other things. So, yeah, we're right on the cusp, and there's so many things we want to talk to at Forge about what you just said to take people into that next thinking piece where they can have a really big impact on their businesses.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Just on that truck thing, I've had very long ties with Volvo Truck. At one point, I used to work with Volvo Truck in Australia. Yep. And they're at the forefront of that in Europe as well.
Yes.
It's not just a thing, it's going to happen. Driverless trucks.
So I've got a saying, and I've stolen it from someone else over the periods. Change happens slowly at first, and then all of a sudden it's in your face.
Yeah.
This is the truth. And if we believe that to be true of where the next 5 to 10 is, I think we're an exponential change. And I honestly believe that we need to know what's coming and we need to plan for it. But we as humans need to adjust and cater for it as well. Because this change is not one that's going to be the normal one. This is going to affect how we augment ourselves. I am a superhuman now, Gary. I use ChatGPT, and I am honestly a superhuman. The things I can get out, the thinking I can derive, I am superhuman now. And we've just touched the surface, right? So can you imagine when this thing actually takes some fledging into marketplace and starts to be pushed in the industry?
It's really interesting that you're talking about that, because one of the things that we notice, and this will be a massive, this could be a massive change in industry in general, is that on a consumer-based market, Australia is really at the forefront of picking up innovations.
Yep,
but when it 100%. Comes to industry,
no, they're not.
Not so much.
They're not. And I don't mean that negatively. I don't mean that negatively. It's a big, diverse landscape, right, Australia?
It is.
Built with lots of pockets of regionalised territories. And as a result of that, there's a lot of colloquialism that sits in Australia's thinking, right? And especially in industry. So I totally get it. And it's one of the biggest things I respect about Australian industry is their just get it done attitude. And we've been doing it like this and we just get it done. You know what I mean? That's how we roll. So the trick is going to be, how long can you continue to think like that? How long can you continue to keep that mindset? Don't know.
We have a very good relationship with a guy that specializes in Industry 4.0, which is, I guess, the next or a current revolution of industry. And I didn't realize that had been around for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And still, people are trying to understand what Industry 4.0 is. And there's very, very little uptake in Australia right now. I think what will happen, this is my viewpoint, there'll be those that take up Industry 4.0, that take up AI, that take up certain aspects of innovation and automation and things like that. They'll be the ones that survive. Those that don't, they won't. It's as simple as that. It's the global market now that's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
And you know what's funny?
All the time.
And sorry for interjecting, but what's the funny bit, and we've got a few questions we need to get through today, but I'm loving this conversation and this topic because it's dear to my heart. The funny thing about that is that's happened on every industrial and technological revolution, that those that have lent in have moved forward and survived and thrived. I just think this one's the fastest of any. We're in a time of exponential change. So, do you know what? Change is tough. Change is tough for everyone. But you get to choose whether you lean into it or sit back and watch it go past. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I reckon you've got. Look, I'm as I said, I knew this conversation would be good as we entered, and I've already started off to a bang. So thanks, for kicking off with such flavour.
I'd love to just be a fly on the wall and just listen to you guys. You guys are going at it. It's innovative stuff, and the change of now AI is just, get on board or you're left behind. Exactly right, Gary said. Yeah. I just wanted to. I was hoping if could you share a recent success story that highlights the IPA's, strengths and demonstrates the commitment into innovation?
Yeah, I can. Look, I guess for us, where we run across three real clear differentials within our business. One, we focus very much on industry and improving both employee and business capability. And we do that through a community approach, engaging the people in the organization, creating learning environments, and connecting the dots for people. The other aspect of our organization is what we call the IPA Collective, which you guys are part of. And I guess what that is once again very innovative in what we do. It's bringing together people in industry, the front of what they specialize in, and being able to tap into that knowledge as our customers is totally incredible, vital, and as you say, moving forward, will provide a lot of answers that ordinarily they wouldn't be able to find. So I guess for us, a great innovation part is our IPA Collective, and it started off slowly. We're growing and growing and growing, and we're also getting our members, our customers now starting to tap into that network. So to me, that is a fantastic innovation that we brought forward, and it's already proven to be successful with our customers and network.
One thing I like about it is you just have such a diverse of partners in different industries, and you haven't got two the same. So we in our connection being a niche in that operational workforce management tool software is great because they can come to us for those needs. But if I need something in oil or in manufacturing and something, I've got a pool of people that I connect to, and I think that's what appeals to us as being part of that organization.
And that's what appeals to all our specialist partners. But it's also what appeals to our customers and people wanting to tap in. We provide some of the best contacts in industry in just a really simple, easily accessible way. So they know they are trusted and proven partners when they go searching for somebody to use. Yeah.
So the interesting thing there, and the bit we're playing with, and it's a little trick I learned from a network specialist and also a good friend of mine, Matt Murray from Uncommon Network Events, is that when you go to an event like this, or when you go to activities that Industry Partners Australia offer, you often go alone. You sit there in isolation. You're looking at the presenters, or you're hearing the conversation, and you've got no one to bounce it off with. You get all these amazing ideas. You get these incredible signals, Gary. And then you go back to your business and you go, oh, I had the best event I've ever been to. It was amazing. I learned all these incredible things. And I don't know how to get it across, but we want to do this stuff. You've got no buy-in. You built no connection in your business. It's isolated. So what we're trying to do at Forge, and I'd love for you and your network to come to Forge, of course, is to think about bringing maybe two other people. Maybe bring a customer that you want to forge a strong relationship with. Maybe bring someone in your business that's responsible for delivering innovation or delivering new thinking, and bring them into an environment where they can have a conversation away from the buzz of the daily operations of your business. That's conducive to thinking wider, and you're having this interesting conversation in your own little group as part of a bigger group, which means that when you take that back to your business, not only have you cemented relationships with the people that you came along with in a much more conducive way about innovation thinking, but you've also created potentially partnership bonds or customer bonds that are unbreakable, because no one's going to look at that negatively, right? No one. So we're about to launch some stuff, Gary, and we'd love you to be part of that thinking, is to say, here's a ticket for the originator, but bring two other people and we'll give you a discount on the two others. because we
Cool.
know that if we've got 3 people in those sorts of little pockets of thinking, this thing's going to be explosive, this event. And so that's a free tip back to you, because I've loved the conversation today. And I think that's one of the tips that I've taken recently about how do you create great events that really have a buzz and a collective around them. Well, you make sure that people aren't sitting in isolation, right? So simple stuff, but we often miss it. And that's innovative, but it doesn't have to be a future tech to be innovative, right? This is the point. There you go.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And thank you.
So sorry, I got my high horse there, but I really want to emphasize that thing, right? Because it's I know when I'm at something and I'm meeting or talking to people in a really vibrant capacity, my ability to lock things away, think through things, and dialogue is so much stronger. So, yeah. I'm going to lead that into a question that's the next question that we had, or the next conversation piece, which is around the importance of collaboration and partnerships. It's a funny segue. It wasn't intentional, but I'll take it. How do partnerships and collaboration work for you guys, and how important are they in your day to day? And how do you foster that thinking?
Yeah, as you can tell by our name, Industry Partners Australia.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's pretty integral to our business. Look, I guess what we're all about is connecting the dots for people. So we have over 5,000 professionals in our network and represent over 300 companies nationally. Well, a lot of what they talk to us about and why they talk to us is they just don't know where to find information, and they don't know where to find the answers and the solutions. So our business is all about connecting those dots and networking. So basically, we hold a number of just pure networking events for our members. They're not learning events. They're basically just coming together. We'll have a guest speaker, and they just network. They talk to each other around a topic, a theme, and how we get that working and moving along is we might provide a topic, so and then we'll put them in small groups and they'll talk over that topic, and then we go around and we discuss what outcome people have come up with and solutions. So the other part that we do, as I mentioned, IPA Collective is a massive part of that, is we now have realized there's a massive need in industry in general for them to be able to connect in and network with some of the best minds in Australia in regard to, what they specialize in. And so for you guys, this is fantastic. I love this event that you're going to run, because for us, it's exactly how we operate normally in our business. So in answer to your question, really simply, networking is absolutely critical. People don't value it as much as they should, but it is the source of all solutions. We have a little catchphrase in our business. Solutions begin with a conversation. And
I love it. And I've got 3 things that are buzzing in my head. Number one is we've got to remove transactional networking. Transactional networking, where you're just there to sign it, find someone that you can do a deal with straight away on the spot. Look, there's no depth to that. There's no substance. We need to build networks where people are abundant, where people want to give first before they receive. And so I think that's one of the core primary essences that sits behind the Forge thinking, is we want people to come along and be part of an abundant partnership network where we all work together to rise the boats. We talked about the long boats at the start. A rising tide rises all boats, right? The other really interesting thing is, and I often say, if I can walk away from an event and get 1 or 2 key signals that makes a difference in the way I think, it's worth so much more than any other way of transacting. And when I say transacting, again, back to thinking about how you learn things, transactional learning. That alone is really hard to do when you're sitting in isolation. If you get to an event, you get to spread your mind, the conversations, you learn so much. And so we're doing something super special to what you just said on our second day, our demo day, which is all about showing people that the future is actually here. And that's where we're hoping to get some really young future leaders. And when I say hope, we're signing them up at the moment, to come along, hear some problem statements from industry, and see if they can actually go away and within 6 hours possibly build some AI agents that might solve one or two of those problem statements on the day. Now, that's going to scare the living hell out of some people, but it's going to blow some minds as well. So I agree. Problem statements, what are your issues? How do we work towards solving those? How do we do that in a conducive, abundant way where we're all working together? So, yeah, I love that explanation, Gary, and I really appreciate it.
Cool.
It really leads to the next question, where is there any specific tools that you use to measure the success with the IPA?
Yeah, there is. Look, at the end of the day, for us, it's all around what we talk about in our business statement, and that's improving the capability of Australian industry. So the way we measure that is where we're contributing to Australian industry. And the way that we measure that is when through connections. So it backs right on to what Courtney was just talking about. If we can put a customer in touch with somebody that can help them with an issue they've got and help them find a solution, that's a big tick for us. We know we've been successful. And so our whole ethos around the organization is about making those connections and those points. So for us, we literally go out and talk to our customers and say, look, when you've got an issue and you can't resolve it, talk to us. We have a network of 5,000 professionals that surely must have an answer for you somewhere. And so, yeah, we measure the amount of referrals that we make and the amount of touch points that we create.
And look, it's really interesting. And I've got a wonderful segue to something I want to ask you, which is 5,000 amazing humans in your network. Have you looked at, or what have you considered to make that network tighter and your ability to extract information, make decisions, connect better? What technologies, if any, and I'm putting you on the spot here, Gary, which is tough, have you thought about today and into the future that could make that relationship or those bonds tighter and stronger and the learning opportunities much wider and deeper?
We just haven't found the right tools yet.
Okay.
Everything that we've looked at currently, one of the issues that we face, Courtney, and this is, I guess, a segue into looking at technology in general. And I come back to Australians adopt new technologies, innovation, very simply. Industry doesn't. And there are always the issues around intellectual property, guarding the IT system. You guys see it every day of the week, more than we do. Yeah. So they are so paranoid is the only word I can say in relation to allowing you into their organization technology wise. Yeah. And I think until we can get over that, I think we're going to struggle in that area.
Yeah, look, the human issue, it raises its head a lot. This concept that you've just described, which is a concept of risk aversion first and not abundance first, has a penalty on a lot of components of success for industry. I agree with you, and you know, a little story I've got is that we embarked on a CAN bus integration journey 20 years ago, and man, as a small company in Australia, like to try and work out how to integrate to all the manufacturers and get all the, you know, and then we've got clients that get up and about, you know, one field that's not working in a report because we you know, on one truck, like, and you're sitting here going, you just don't get how hard it is to get this information out of these people, and then let alone get the same information in a universal way, because everyone's trying to maintain proprietary control. Such a tricky environment to navigate. Look, is it going to go away? No, but if we can just chip away at the edges, I think there's great opportunity, and we won't uncover those opportunities, but happy to talk afterwards, Gary, about
ways. I think there are some great opportunities,
information flow, and all of those sorts of important things for you guys.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, Philip, have you got anything that's burning on the Forge that you want to?
Well, it's a question that we ask everyone on the Forge Forward podcast, because it's a message that we're really honing in, and it's all about identifying signals for success. And I guess I want to know, how do these signals influence your strategic decisions and innovation efforts? And these signals come from every shape and form. So is there anything you can add to
that? Look, I guess, as you say, the signals are everywhere. I guess it's filtering through the ones that we see as being critical. So some of the things that we look at predominantly are around communication, making that simpler. What we're always looking for is changes in markets. For instance, and I'm sure many of the people you've talked to have talked about COVID being, for us, where we run around about 150 events a year. So if you can imagine what COVID did for us, basically it closed our whole network down. So we had to be very agile, and I think that's the most critical part. You can look for signals all you like, but they're gonna come up whether you want them or not. And I think it's how you react to what's happening here and now. You need to look forward. You need to innovate. You need to try and guess where things are going. Absolutely. But you also have to be agile enough to be able to make changes, meet customer needs, meet demands of your products, your quality, your people, your technologies. It's constant. It really is. I don't know whether I truly believe in signals as such. I believe more in agility of an organization to react to what's happening now and in the next 12 months. And I think that's very much around what you've been talking about, is the fact that change has never been quicker. I mean, the Industrial Revolution took 130 years or something like that. The what they call the second Industrial Revolution took 90. The next revolution, which is Industry 4.0, is basically 20 years old. Sorry. This next one is likely to be 5 to 10 years. So I don't know how you can focus on signals. Agility, to me, is the thing.
I think you can't focus on it. You can't make it your mantra, but I think you've got to be able to be adaptive enough and flexible enough and smart enough to program your thinking, in that if you see something, you need to go down a little bit deeper. You can't just sit there and let it slide. That's the trick. If you see something that sort of shoots you in the arm, you go, hold up. You got to step away. You got to process it, and then you got to really think about how that impacts. It's the challenge we've got so much going on, Gary, that we just flick things past us. We don't have an opportunity to dive in deeply enough, and so the key for me is if you see the signal, act on it, explore it, take it to a point where you can determine whether it's important or not, and then keep your eyes open and your mind open for the next one.
I love that philosophy. That's a great way of putting it.
All right, so we are well into this conversation. Here I was saying at the start we'd be somewhere between 25 and 30, and we're approaching 30 easily. We're gonna get into some of the final pieces of our chat today. So as we approach the home stretch, are there any insights or advice that you'd like to share, words of encouragement or thoughts that you'd like to share with your audience, about what you're doing, what you're seeing, and how you're going about it that can provide some positivity as we close out today's session?
Yeah, I think in all fairness, from my perspective, I said it earlier. You've either got to go down this path, or you're not gonna make it through into the future, sadly. And I think, in all fairness, that sounds like a pretty awful thing to say, but there are innovators out there. There are people out there that are grasping this. There are companies out there that are grasping this. Organizations that are taking AI into the workplace now. We are seeing machine monitoring, machine adaptation, and these kind of things. So we are adopting it. We're just very slow, but I really, really do feel that we need to pick the pace up and adopt more of it. And I think if we can continue to get that message across to people in industry and across other industry sectors as well, look, there's no reason why we can't do it. I think, Courtney, you mentioned earlier, the great thing about Australians is they do just get on and do it. So I think that will shine through. I really do. And I think we'll be late adopters, but we'll be at the forefront of it at some point in time.
Great advice. Wonderful way to finish. We're so lucky to have had you on the podcast for Forge today, Gary. So thank you so much for attending. We're hopefully going to get some of your audience to come along, and we're going to work together on that abundant thinking approach to get a really, really conducive conversation going at Forge. I'd just like to say thanks for supporting us, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. Thanks for having me on board, and thanks for spending the time with me. And I'm really looking forward to Forge the conference. It should be fantastic.